We are here to talk about enrichment, a goal for many but achieved by few. In other words, having an awareness of prosperity is a rare thing that only a few people attain. Speaking of prosperity, prosperity is like a tripod. It is a combination of health, wealth, and family. If you have money, you might think that's all you need. Now let's consider this scenario. Imagine having a lot of money, but being in the terminal stages of cancer. I believe you would give all the money in the world to get cured, wouldn't you? It's pointless to have money without health. But what if you have money and health, but no one to share your wealth with? In that case, it would be incomplete, wouldn't it? Life wouldn't be fulfilling. So note this. Prosperity is a combination of health, wealth, and family. That's what true prosperity is all about. Shall we do an exercise? Comment this: prosperity is money, health, and family. Just comment, prosperity is money, health, and family. And once I see that comment, I'll give it a heart. Now let's talk about money. What is financial success? Financial success is when you never have to refrain from buying something due to lack of money, or abstain from doing something you enjoy because of financial constraints. If you're doing things in your life that you wouldn't like to do because of money, or refraining from things you'd like to do due to financial constraints, then you haven't reached this level of financial success and financial independence yet. There are 4 financial levels. Level 1 is the survival level. You're merely surviving, spending everything you earned yesterday, and worse, spending more than you earn, accumulating a snowball of debt. This level is terrible, right? That means spending more than you're earning. Level 2 is what I call swapping 6 for half a dozen. You're spending what you're earning with nothing left over, always breaking even. Level 3 is the under the mattress level. You manage to earn more than you spend, but you don't know how to make that surplus work for you, so logically, you're losing money to inflation if you do that. Finally, there's level 4, which is earning, spending less than you earn, and making the rest of the money work for you every month. Achieving financial independence, something only 5% of the world's population possesses. So what we're going to discuss here is how you can acquire the awareness of prosperity to make money work for you instead of working hard for money. Prosperity consciousness allows you to live in this universe effortlessly, with or without money. It's easier to live life with money than without it, but there are people who live in this world very well without having much money. However, that's not the path we're choosing here. We're choosing the path of prosperity, where you learn to generate wealth. To learn to generate wealth, you need to understand the wheel of abundance. Prosperity in your life is directly proportional to the speed at which the wheel of abundance spins in your life. You might be wondering, why doesn't the wheel of abundance spin faster in my life? It may not spin due to emotional blocks. That could be one reason. You might think that money is dirty, that rich people don't go to heaven, that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. Another reason could be ignoring the laws of wealth. Earn, spend, save, invest. These are universal laws that work anywhere and should be taught from childhood. Most people are born and leave this life without learning this. That's why we're talking about it today, because we want a different direction for our lives, right? Financial mathematics is also crucial. It's essential to learn to deal with numbers. There's a widespread disease in the world called logic phobia, acquired in childhood, where a person doesn't like dealing with numbers. If you don't like numbers, you'll hardly become a millionaire, because being a millionaire requires learning to deal with numbers. What we're going to do here is show you first how you can remove these emotional blocks. Imagine this situation. You're 6 years old, having dinner with your parents, and your father, probably sitting at the head of the table, says the following: "I'd rather you be poor but honest than rich and dishonest." It's preferable to be poor and honest, because the rich and dishonest won't enter heaven. At 6 years old, you wouldn't raise your voice to argue with your father, telling him he's wrong, and that there are honest poor and dishonest poor, honest rich and dishonest rich, and consequently, wealth and poverty, honesty and dishonesty. have nothing to do with each other. At 6 years old, you don't have the mindset to debate with your father. You simply absorb what you hear, and it becomes part of your psychological structure. Now this will become part of your reality, and you'll take it as absolute truth. Time will pass, 20 to 30 years from now, and you start making a lot of money. You know what will happen? You'll self-sabotage. Nobody wants to be labeled as dishonest. So if you think you're dishonest because you're making money, then you'll find a way to lose that money to remain honest. Some people carry this burden throughout their lives. Beliefs have the sole purpose of perpetuating themselves once established, and they perpetuate by reinforcing the belief. You will produce what you believe, and this reinforces your belief. Some people do this their entire lives, so it's essential to understand this wheel of abundance and that it can be blocked, like a handbrake, by your emotional blocks. For example, at 6 years old, you're in an important place, wearing the best clothes you have. And when you arrive, there's someone dressed in a suit and tie with a microphone in hand saying, "It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven." After this person finishes their speech, you go home with that message in your subconscious. Arriving home, you turn on the television and see a very large camel, then you open the drawer and see a very small needle. So you think, it's impossible for a camel to pass through the eye of this needle. Since it's like that, I prefer to be poor to go to heaven. Years will pass, and you'll forget about it, just as the preacher forgot to mention that many years ago, the walls of Jerusalem had gates, and these gates were closed at 6 in the evening. Any camel or caravan arriving after that time couldn't pass through the gates. The only way to enter the city was through a small gate called the Needle, where camels had to kneel and be unloaded, otherwise they couldn't pass. The symbolism is that to enter the kingdom of heaven, you need to enter humbly and without your material burden. You don't take material goods to the kingdom of heaven. In your coffin, there won't be drawers to put your belongings. Everything you have in this life, you don't actually have. You're just managing it. When you leave this life, you won't take material possessions, only your experiences. But that doesn't mean that if you have material possessions, you won't enter the kingdom of heaven. Money is a tool that facilitates even your spirituality. For example, a rope is a rope. It can be used to harm someone or to save someone drowning. Intrinsically, the rope is neither good nor bad. A knife is just a knife. It can be used to spread butter on bread or to harm someone. So the knife is neither good nor bad. Money is also the same. It is a tool that, when used correctly, is a path to spirituality. So it's essential to understand that there's nothing wrong with making money. You just need to know how to use it in the right way, without greed or avarice. However, understand that you won't take anything from here either. You need to make money work for you and for others. Let's delve deeper into the anatomy and physiology of this wheel of abundance. It has two parts, giving and receiving. You can't turn a wheel with only one half. Agree? Some people have a problem giving. They are very selfish, and that's not the profile I approve of. Some people have trouble receiving. They are too proud. We can't be like that either. Others have difficulty in both giving and receiving, which is the most extreme level. There is only a small minority that can do both things. If you want to increase your prosperity and make the wheel of abundance spin faster in your life, you need to learn to work with both giving and receiving. An analogy to understand this is the gardener who prunes plants in the garden to make them grow. Look how interesting. When you're pruning, you're promoting growth. Do you realize how amazing that is? When you're pruning, you're making it grow. So when you're giving, it's like pruning the money tree. The act of pruning the money tree can be an act of donation in the form of generosity or charity. When you do good for someone in need, you're being charitable. When you give to someone who doesn't need it, you're being generous. If you gift a friend on their birthday and they can afford to buy the gift themselves, you're not being charitable. You're being generous. The recommendation is to practice both virtues. It's essential to put into practice both charity and generosity. If you practice only charity, you're sending the following message to your subconscious. In the world, only those in need win. So if I want to gain something, I need to be in need. If you also practice generosity, donating to those who don't need it sends the message that even if you're not in need, you will receive. So my recommendation is that you practice both charity and generosity. Now pay attention. There are 4 important verbs to conjugate in the wheel of abundance: declare, request, risk, and thank. The verb declare emphasizes the importance of serving before having. Many people think that if they had money, they would do what rich people do. Be careful with that. Know how to manage your fortune, or you'll end up with nothing in no time. Here's something scary. Over 90% of lottery winners are financially worse off 10 years later because before winning, they didn't possess the necessary mindset and ended up spending everything. When they realized it, they had spent all they had and even more. You need to be, do, and then have. We are linguistic beings and create reality through declaration. In the legal realm, a declaration can determine reality, as in the case of a couple who, when they say yes to each other, the judge declares them husband and wife. If they want to separate, they need to declare divorce, and the judge has the authority for that. You are like the judge of your own life and have the autonomy to make statements about yourself. If you declare that you are prosperous, you start adopting behaviors consistent with prosperity and consequently achieve prosperity. Therefore, do not underestimate the power of the verb to declare and make your declarations in the areas you deem necessary. Also, it's important to work on the conjugation of the second verb, which is to request. Requesting generates power, and often shy individuals face difficulties in life because they don't know how to request. As the saying goes, those who don't ask don't get. Without requesting, the universe cannot fulfill your requests. You have to request from God what you want. The third point, you have to learn to take risks. Without risking, you will hardly be prosperous. There's no way to get rich. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, a Swiss psychologist who lived in the United States, dedicated part of her life to teaching people about death. In a 10-day course, she provided a learning experience about preparing for death. On the last day, she administered a test to see if participants were truly prepared to face death. Everyone responded similarly to a specific question. If they had to live their lives again, would they take more risks? This realization emphasizes the importance of calculated risk in life. When you, who are listening, reach 90 or 95 years old, if someone asks you what you would do if you lived your life again, you would also respond in the same way. Understand that taking more risks doesn't mean doing crazy things, but rather taking calculated risks. Here's a great example. A trapeze artist in the circus faces a crucial moment. When releasing one trapeze to grab the next, they check if the other trapeze is on its way. In this interval, transitioning from one to the other, they go through a moment of vulnerability. Some people spend their whole lives avoiding this vulnerability, seeking a supposed security that, in reality, doesn't exist. Life is full of opportunities, not security. Therefore, you need to conjugate the verb to risk more in your life. Moreover, it is essential to work with the verb to thank, because gratitude is the mother of all virtues. Many people spend most of their time complaining about what they lost or what they wish they had. Rarely do you find someone saying they would like to have something and already have it, or that they wouldn't want something and don't have it. The practice of gratitude is fundamental. You need to learn to thank for what you have to attract more of what you desire. Gratitude functions as feedback in the cybernetic process of life, so you need to practice the verb to thank more. By working with the verbs to declare, request, risk, and thank, it becomes easier to implement more speed in the rotation of your wheel of abundance. These verbs are powerful tools to shape reality and attract more prosperity into your life. We are here discussing scientific, philosophical, and psychological aspects of prosperity. Allow me to remind you what science is. Science is the study of the cause and effect of natural phenomena. By investigating cause and effect, we are conducting scientific research. Philosophy, in turn, is the study of thoughts, while psychology is dedicated to studying the effect of these thoughts on people's behavior. We are addressing both scientific and philosophical and psychological aspects, developing models to understand prosperity. Another relevant point is our mind, for example, which has two parts, the thinker and the prover. The thinker thinks and the prover proves. The thinker only thinks and nothing more than that, while the prover proves what the thinker thought. For example, if you think money is difficult, you are right. If you think it's easy, you are also right. The phrase, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way, illustrates the great reality. The proverb will confirm what the thinker proved, manifesting itself in the physical universe, including in your bank account. Here's the big secret of prosperity. The quality is there. To illustrate better, imagine it's Friday night. You just got home from work, turn on the TV, and start watching the lottery results. By coincidence, you bought a ticket, take it out of your pocket, and realize it's a winner. The number on TV is the same as your ticket, and you just won $1 million. Although you can't redeem the prize until Monday morning, you'll surely spend your weekend very happy and won't give room for sadness at any moment, and you only have a paper in your pocket. You will say, but it's a winning ticket. I have a winning ticket in my pocket. I know, but it's still a piece of paper, isn't it? But you spend a happy weekend because on Monday you will turn that ticket into $1 million. If everything you want in the future had the same conviction you have when you have a winning ticket in your pocket, it would happen. But you can't hold on to that state, right? What a disappointment. Sometimes you get excited when you finish a goal, but you can't maintain that state for long. Do you know what the secret of prosperity is? The secret to getting there is the quality of being there. What do you want? I want $1 million. If you had $1 million, how would you feel? You would say, I would feel very happy. So start feeling that way 24 hours a day, and it will manifest in your life. Unfortunately, you can't hold on to it because of your psychological structure, and that's why you're listening to this with me. So remember this model. The thinker thinks, the prover proves, and the mind has two parts, the thinker that thinks and the prover that proves. The mind is not your brain, your mind is in your entire body. Because I ask a person, where is your mind? They point to the brain. No, your mind is in your whole body, even in your big toe. If it gets a cut, it will heal spontaneously. There is intelligence there, intelligence in your liver, kidneys, spleen, and so on. So it's the corporeality of the mind. This mind is in connection with divine intelligence. Through this connection, you can manifest things from another plane in this plane, through the mind. So you have to learn to create from nothing. It's true, create from nothing. Everything is created from nothing. A chair was created from nothing. Before chairs existed, people squatted until one day someone created a chair from nothing. So, the creative process has three principles: the principle of high analysis, the principle of suggestions, and the principle of goals. The principle of high analysis is as follows. What have I been thinking that made my life the way it is today? Do a self-analysis of what you have been thinking about money, and you will look at your bank account and you will have the answer. What you have been thinking about money is manifested there. The day you change the quality of thought, you change the amount of money there. Second, suggestions. You heard a series of negative suggestions from your parents who, with the best intentions, passed on a series of wrong things to you. For example, to be a doctor, you need to study medicine. To be a lawyer, you need to study law. And to be a father and mother, what do you need? You just need to have relationships. No one takes a course to be a father. No one takes a course to be a mother. No one takes a course to be a good educator. So parents make mistakes in raising children, and parents bring us a series of specific negative thoughts and behaviors. Until the age of 4 or 5, we receive more than 100,000 no's. For every compliment a 4-year-old receives, they get 9 reprimands. Look at the impact that has on our minds. We have a series of negative suggestions about money. To reverse this, you have to take these negative suggestions, turn them into positives, speak, write, listen, and record with your voice until you change. Third, you have to understand the difference between goals and objectives. If I'm in New York and want to get to Chicago, I leave New York and go to Chicago. That's because I have a goal. Now, if I'm in New York and want to travel to the west, when I get to Chicago, there's still more west. When I get to Los Angeles, when I get to Sydney, Australia, there's more west. Since the earth is round, I'll return to New York. So, when I'm traveling west, I have a purpose to travel west. When I'm going to Chicago, I have a goal. One thing is to have a goal, another thing is to have a purpose in life with meaning. What is your purpose in life? It's just a question you have to ask for 21 consecutive nights before going to sleep. What is my purpose in life? The moment you discover your purpose in life, many miracles will happen in your life. You will realize that you have more energy, more willingness. Monday becomes the best day of the week. You no longer have financial problems in your physical universe, and so on. You have to ask yourself, what is my purpose in life? The moment you discover your purpose in life and align your goals with it, a lot changes in your life. So understanding this difference between goal and objective, purpose or finality makes a huge difference in your life. Now I want to start discussing with you the laws of wealth, laws that should be taught in kindergarten. Sometimes it works like gravity. It works anywhere in the world. Anywhere you apply the laws of wealth, like the law of earning, the law of spending, the law of saving, and the law of investing, these laws work anywhere. So, let's start with the law of earning. All money is created by the human mind. In fact, I always say that financial problems are not solved with money, and those who hear it for the first time find it absurd. How can financial problems not be solved with money? That's exactly it. Financial problems are not solved with money. They are solved with imagination. Imagine your rent is due and you don't have money to pay it. So you decide to borrow money from your friend. And after that, you do nothing for the whole month. Next month will come and the rent will be due again, and there you are, in debt for the rent again and owing your friend. And both want to be paid. See that nothing has been solved? Imagine your business is not doing well and you need money, so you go to the bank and borrow and do nothing else. When next month comes, you will be in the same situation and still owe the capital and interest to the bank. So once again, it didn't help. Imagine that a country is going through financial difficulties, so that country goes and borrows money from the IMF and does nothing else. Interestingly, every time that country borrows money from the IMF, it is becoming more subject to imperialism. It's a neo-colonization. It's not boats attacking our shores, it's economic neo-colonization. Financial problems are solved with imagination. Everything that exists in the physical universe, look around you, choose whatever you want. It can be that object in your hands, yes, it can be your cell phone. The object you chose first passed through someone's mind. It first goes through the person's mind before manifesting in the physical universe. Creation happens twice, first in the mind and second in the physical universe. Wealth is the same. Do you think you can walk down the street and one day wealth will fall on your head? No. That's not how it's going to work. You first have to create that wealth in your imagination, and then it manifests in the physical universe. It's the law of earning. In the second law, it's the law of spending. The value of money is determined by the buyer and seller in each transaction. This is important to understand. You're scrolling through your social media on a Sunday morning. There's an ad for a car you'd like to buy, but it's expensive. Go check it out, you never know. The person might sell it for a lower price. Call, ask for discounts. You don't know what will happen. The value of money is determined by the buyer and seller in each transaction. Imagine you're navigating a very dangerous river and suddenly your boat sinks. You have a backpack with $10,000, all dry and protected in the backpack. You meet a person who has lived in the countryside all their life and never had contact with money before. This person has a canoe and you want him to take you 10 kilometers downstream and you give him $10,000. He has never seen money in his life, let alone dollars. Do you think he will do it? No. Now, if you were in Miami and offered $10,000, the guy would take you 100 kilometers upstream. The value of money is determined by the buyer and seller in each transaction. And those who become rich are not those who earn a lot, but those who know how to spend. If you earn $20,000 a month and spend 19, at the end of the month, you have one left. If you earn $100,000 a year and spend 110, at the end of each month, you owe 10. Interestingly, society applauds more for those who earn more and spend it all than for those who earn less, but still manage to save money at the end of the month. So the situation is much worse. You have to learn to manage your expenses, and we'll discuss a bit more later. The third law is the law of saving. Do you know how to save? First, create the concept I call personal tithe. You have to take 10% of what you earn and save it for yourself. But you know what happens? At the end of the month, you pay everyone, just not one person, yourself, who earned. Interesting, right? You pay the dentist, the car installment, the university, you pay for the kids' things. You just don't pay one person, yourself, who earned. This has to be reversed. You have to do the personal tithe. You may argue that you don't do the personal tithe because you already earn little. So if you already earn little, 10% is also little, it won't make a difference. Because some people live with much less than you earn. You can easily live on 90% of what you earn. When you start saving these 10%, magic happens in your life because you are sending the message to the subconscious. I live with abundance, have enough, and still have leftovers. Your subconscious begins to live in an environment of prosperity, which is very important. If you're thinking, but I already earn and I already save 40%, great, but separate the 30% from the 10%, right? Because these 10% will create a money magnet. The word tithe appears in all religions worldwide and means 10%. So you have these 10% that you will save as a personal tithe. This money you can never use for anything perishable or stolen. You have to save it up to a certain point and then you buy property, a lot, whatever. But you can't buy perishable things because that will create the money magnet. Pay attention to this interesting thing. If you open the faucet in your house, water comes out. Where does the water go? It goes to the river. The river goes to the sea. So where does the water go? Water goes where there is water. Love goes to those who have love. Hatred goes to those who have hatred. And where does money go? Money goes to those who have money. Money doesn't go to the poor. Money goes to those who have money. You go to the bank and say to the manager, please, I'm in debt, lend me money. He says no, no, and no. But if you go there and prove to him that you don't need money, he will want to offer you a loan because the bank lives off interest. Interestingly, credit is paradoxical. Those who need it don't have it. Those who don't need it indeed have it. So money attracts money, like attracts like. If you start doing the personal tithe, you start attracting more money. That's why the tithe is important. This personal tithe you have to do. Now let's talk about the law of investing. Investment is fundamental. Most people don't know how to invest. Investment works like this. You make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investing has to be legal. You're not going to invest in something illegal, right? You have to invest in something legal with legality. You'll check if there's more or less profitability, more or less security, more or less liquidity. Profitability, security, and liquidity are the three key points of investment. There's money that you're going to leave there for the long term. You're not worried about liquidity, but you're concerned about security and profitability. There's money that you need more liquidity. Profitability may not be as high, but you can withdraw it whenever you want. Sometimes you put money in savings and can go there and withdraw the money whenever you want. But only working with the laws of wealth is not enough. Earning, spending, saving, investing. It's very important. You have to be concerned about that, but only that is not enough. So now, you also have to consider the psychological aspect of things. There are psychological heavyweights, as I call them in psychology, that interfere with your ability to earn money. For example, if you visit a city and have a bad experience there, you don't want to go back. Isn't that true? Another important point is parental disapproval. Many people feel they cannot earn more money than their parents because that could make them feel humiliated. This need not to surpass parents, even if unconscious, affects about 30% of people worldwide and acts as a brake on the wheel of abundance. The parent disapproval syndrome can be an obstacle to financial growth. Working on this psychological issue is crucial before applying the laws of wealth, such as earning, spending, saving, and investing. Finally, honesty is valued. Often, people prefer to be poor and honest than to be rich and dishonest. Integrity should guide financial choices to ensure a balanced and prosperous life. You have to reverse this in your head, and the feeling of imminent death is when you have that feeling that you are going to die at any moment. So the person who has suffering at birth when they breathe for the first time breathes because birth here outside the womb begins with an inspiration and life ends with an expiration. That's why when someone dies, it is said, "He expired," as they stopped breathing. So when you breathe in with the feeling of pain, it is a sensation of death and gets encoded in your brain. So we have to live in that feeling as if we were going to live forever. How many people do you know at 65 years old who could be useful to humanity and are programming themselves to die? In fact, people who live a long time, who surpass 90, 100 years, are those who constantly face challenges, create new things in their minds, set new goals as if they were going to live forever. This is very important. The other thing I want to discuss from a psychological standpoint is this excuse of karma. I'm not here to discuss whether karma exists or not. I'm here to say the following. Some people want to use the excuse that they can't earn money in this life because of their karma. I would like to say the following. If your past life were more important than this one, you would be living the past life and not this one. Oh, I think more important than karma, more important than everything, is our free will. We have that at every moment. You have the right to move forward or backward. This free will is a characteristic that not even God takes away from us because He Himself gave it to us. I would like to discuss with you some popular myths. When I say myth, it's because there's a lack of causality. There is a difference between casualty, which means by chance, and causality, which has a cause, and people confuse one with the other. For example, some people think that to earn money, you have to work a lot, which is not true. You have to work intelligently. Once, an individual became a millionaire at the age of 65, and the person interviewing him for television asked him, "Why did you become a millionaire at 65? Why not at 55? Why not at 45? And he replied, "I was so busy working that I didn't have time to make money." Look at that profound answer. Sometimes the individual is so obsessed with what he is doing day to day that he doesn't have time to take a step back and see things from a broader perspective. I don't know if this is your case, but sometimes it's important to take a vacation. Sometimes you come back from vacation renewed and with new ideas. So sometimes you're working hard and not getting anywhere. You have to check on that. The other myth is that I can't earn money and have fun at the same time. The person says, "During the week, I bring home the bacon. Now on Saturday and Sunday, I do what I want." My friend, what you do for fun, someone does as a profession. I can assure you I don't know what your hobby is, but I can assure you that what you do for fun, someone does as a profession. The ideal is to take a hobby, turn it into a profession. You'll never work again. You'll always feel like you're on vacation. The ideal is to have a profession that you wouldn't need to get paid to be happy. Then you charge a small fee to do that. Then you'll always be satisfied doing what you like. You have to do what you like and like what you do. It has to be both things because as good as what you're doing may be, there will always be even better things. For example, I love creating videos for YouTube, but I have to create several scripts every day. It's not always pleasant to spend about 10 hours writing a single script. Not knowing if the video will get many views, it's extremely tiring, having to research, correct errors, and so on. When I start getting upset about it, I remember the following. Hey, this is part of my life. I have to create these videos. So this here is the price I'm paying. Then I use some artificial intelligence to help me in the creation process, so it becomes more enjoyable. So I have to incorporate the following. I won't be able to work all the time in the comfort zone. Even doing what I like, there will be things that I won't like. But I have to like what I'm doing because that complements me. The third myth is occupation. People say, do you know why I don't make money? Because I don't have my brother's profession. What is your brother's profession? My brother is a doctor. My friend, let me tell you something. I know poor doctors, poor lawyers, rich lawyers, poor accountants, rich accountants, poor artists, rich artists, poor journalists, rich journalists. In any profession, you will find poor people and rich people. So don't blame the occupation. You can manufacture needles and become a millionaire. It's not the occupation that will determine it. It's how you're going to do it. I want to tell you the following. The richest people in the world in general were not erudite. Thomas Edison had 3 months of formal education. Henry Ford had only the second year of elementary school. Bill Gates, who holds 3 world records, accumulated $100 billion, the highest in human history, did it in a record 12-year period, and was the youngest, richest man in the world at 32 years old. He himself dropped out of college to start Microsoft. So the excuse that you didn't have a college degree doesn't justify anything. On the contrary, people who are overly intellectual often end up unable to pay the bills at the end of the month. If you have a relative, an acquaintance, a neighbor who is very intellectual, the family ends up pooling money to help him pay the bills at the end of the month. So, I'm not encouraging you to stop studying. I'm saying that study alone is not enough. You don't make a cake with just flour, butter, or eggs. They are ingredients. Study knowledge can be an ingredient, but alone it doesn't solve anything. If that were the case, all intellectuals would be millionaires, wouldn't they? So this is a popular myth. Another popular myth that people say is, but there isn't enough money for everyone. The financial market is only growing. The purchasing power of humanity today is 4 times 10 to the power of $15. Look, where would you explain that? In the cave era, what was the world's wealth? Virtually nothing. Now you take the current gross domestic product worldwide, which is absurd, was created by the human mind. In Brazil, for example, it is a paradise of opportunities. Every foreigner living in Brazil leaves with the following concept. Brazil is the paradise of opportunities. Only Brazilians can't see that. Like Brazil, I believe that the country where you live also has numerous opportunities. First, humans have nothing to do with geography, nothing to do with topography. It has to do with what enters your left ear and your right ear. So it is important for you to understand all of this, and it is essential to understand the aspect of the money magnet. This concept that we passed on to you is the personal tithe. So look, we've discussed many ideas here. I recommend you listen to this video several times, because the more you listen, the more it will be engraved in your subconscious. We started talking about prosperity, health, wealth, family. We talked about financial success, talked about awareness of prosperity at financial levels, survival, or trading 6 for half a dozen. The debate about the mattress, financial independence. We talked about the wheel of abundance, talked about soliciting, receiving, declaring, thanking. We addressed the aspects of science, philosophy, psychology. We presented the thinker and prover model of the mind. The thinker thinks, the prover proves. With the thinker thinking, if you change your thinking, you change your life. We showed the creative process where you become a co-creator of your existence, where you have the principle of high analysis, the principle of suggestion, the principle of goals. We made the difference between an objective and a goal. The objective concerns what you intend to achieve, while the goal means the specific activities that will lead you to achieve the objective. You only fulfill your purpose when you die. If you are alive, it means you are still working with your purpose. Then we worked with the laws of wealth, the law of earning, the law of spending, the law of saving, the law of investing. All wealth is created by the human mind. You don't walk down the street and wealth falls on your head. If you want to get rich, you have to learn to create. The value of money is determined by the buyer and seller in each transaction. We showed that what is valuable to one is valuable to the other. We talked about the importance of economy. If you know how to save, set aside 10% and work with generosity, work with charity. We talked about the importance of putting money to work for you instead of you working for money. We talked about the importance of liquidity, profitability, security, and, of course, the legality of your investment. We addressed the psychological aspects of prosperity. Working hard is not a cause of wealth. I'm not telling you not to work, but it happens that working alone is not enough. You should look for something you like and turn your hobby into your profession. More important than your erudition is your competence in action. But before you study a lot, focus on the book. You have to put things into practice, and you have your education. Not necessarily having a higher level will determine whether you will earn more or less money. And the universe is a potentially abundant place. For us to finish, pay attention to what I'm going to say now. If you went to a cemetery and talked to those who are living there, they would say that life was short, that there was not enough time to do what they had to do. So rethink, my friend. You were born to grow, so don't let anything or anyone hinder your life process. You've been listening to this video all along. Now, are you going to put it into practice, or are you just going to listen? I recommend that you listen to it at least 7 times to shake up your psychological structure, and after learning everything that was said, put it into practice. It's not just about listening to yourself. You have to put it into practice. This knowledge will only be valuable on the day it moves from the field of thought to the field of action. If you watch this whole video, comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that: I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I'll give you a little heart. Well, for today, that was my contribution. I hope new paths open up in front of you, that the wind blows gently on your back, that the sun shines softly on your face, that the rain falls gently on your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palms of his hands. Now, other videos from our channel are appearing on your screen. Don't leave now. Go watch them. I'm sure they will add a lot of value to your life. A big hug, and see you soon.